What's up, guys? Devil Gamer here, and this is Armored Warfare. Now, pretty much on a short sum up of what Armored Warfare is, it's a tank-on-tank battle game with modern-day tanks. One of the biggest things I see in any sort of tank video that I do is, this would be awesome with modern tanks, or this would be so much cooler if they added the Abrams or a T90, etc. Well, this is the game for you. This is currently under development by Obsidian, and it's actually turning out pretty cool. I got early access to one of the alpha test phases, this is the footage you're seeing. This is very early alpha, so you'll see bugs, you'll see different things that aren't going to be in the full representation of the game. So just bear that in mind. This is you see alpha everywhere on the screen. This is very early alpha, and I gotta say, I was pretty impressed with some of the tank gameplay. There were a few things I didn't like, and there were a few things I did like, but we'll get more into that as we go along. But one of the things I liked the most about this was the fact that there are no nation trees. Now, the way this actually works is you're kind of playing as a PMC, not a nation. So when you go to unlock tanks in the tank tree, it's based off of a dealer who's selling different types of tanks. It could be completely different every single time, and the tree is completely different. You may unlock an American tank, and the next tank down on that list is a Russian tank. For example, like you could unlock a T90, and the next one is a Abrams, which is actually really cool. So that way you're not really grinding out one nation's tree, you're kind of doing a nice mixed bag of tanks, which is cool because you're getting to kind of play the world a little differently instead of just going through and unlocking, Russian tanks or American tanks, etc., which I thought was really awesome. Now, one of the things I didn't like about this, I'm going to kind of talk about this. World of Tanks is the same problem. The lighter tanks are way too fast and maneuverable. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, but Devil, modern tanks are very fast. Listen, you guys know my background. I've been in plenty of tanks. I've been, trained, mechanized, etc. Tanks aren't really that quick. When you get into the lighter tanks, especially World of Tanks and, Armored Warfare has the same problem. They accelerate really fast. They turn really fast. They stop really fast. These are very heavy vehicles. They shouldn't maneuver like Ferraris. And I'm definitely hoping this is one of the things that gets changed. I would like to see, with the main battle tanks, it's not as bad because you can definitely feel the weight and the physics to them. But when you get in these lighter tanks like BMPs, BMDs, 113s, etc., they get very fast. They're very fast. They're quick, maneuverable. I mean, some of these the wheeled scout vehicles are definitely fast in real life, and I can understand that because there's not a lot of armor, there's not a lot of weight to them. But like BMDs, BMPs, 113s, they're still very heavy. They're not running, crazy motors in them, and they take a little while to get up speed. It takes a little while for these. I mean, the tanks are very heavily armored vehicles. They're very slow, hard to maneuver, and that's definitely one thing I'd like to change. The next thing is definitely the spotting mechanic. It uses the same spotting mechanic as World of Tanks, and I'm not a big fan of it. I feel like if you turn a corner, you should be able to see that tank instantly, and there's still that kind of delay with line of sight, and that's just based off the spotting mechanic. But like I said, this is early alpha. That's all likely to change. So it's definitely not really going to be that big of an issue in the future, I hope. And I got really lucky here that I got away from it in time. Everybody else is freaking out shooting. But what's actually kind of cool about this is that it actually has a semi-realistic armor system. There's weak points. There's it kind of simulates different weak points in the tank. There's, and base kind of an armor rating on that. So you can hit a weak point and a known weak point in one of these tanks, and it'll actually do a lot more damage and, damage a lot more components than if you just hit it in a non-weak spot, which is actually pretty cool, and I like that. Now, one of the bigger things that I liked are the ATGMs. I'm all about the ATGMs in this. I like the way they actually put these in because ATGMs are a very powerful weapon in the modern day battlefield, especially in an anti-tank sense. And the way it actually works is a very long reload time. You have to physically stop, and it takes it a second. And from there, it's wire guided. You fire the missile, you can track it, you can turn it mid-flight. It basically works as a real-life ATGM, the wire guided versions. You just kind of drag it and pull it into where it needs to go. Long range with this thing, with ATGMs, it's definitely a little. It's hard to get on target. Hitting moving targets in ATGM is definitely difficult. As you can see, I'm not even going to try here. And you can't do it on the move, which is actually really cool, and I like how they actually added that. You needed to actually physically stop, and guide the missile in. You see here, I just fire it right into the ass into that. Boom, dead. They do a lot of damage like they should. They're not nerfed in any sort of way. I feel like the damage is perfectly nominal for them because they are meant to be tank killers. They're meant to be a one-shot hit on tanks. As for some of the ATGM countermeasures that are out there, or guided missile countermeasures that most modern tanks have, I'm not sure if they're going to be added. I haven't really looked into it much, but you know, as you can see there, I hit that moving tank. Bit of a lag, but still, you can just pull it right on in, hit moving tanks, did a nice amount of damage, took out a track. He's done. He's basically sitting duck. I like the fact that these are added. This is one of the cool things I think that modern day tanks actually have, which is really cool. And see there, I just drag and boom. You can fire over. I mean, that in itself is a very cool feature. That you can take a wire guided, know that there's a tank down there, hide behind something completely, fire it over it, and then bring it right back down into the tank, which is a really cool feature, and I like that a lot. I feel like that's going to change a lot of gameplay. Not just people like firing around corners, but utilizing cover in a completely different way with their given weapon systems. I think that's definitely going to be a really cool thing. Now, since it's modern day tanks, there's a lot of different systems on there. There's going to be, you know, composite armor, reactive armor, thermals, smoke systems, all kinds of stuff like that. And one of the actual cool things that you just saw right there is the ability to, like, when the tank shells go off, the dust kicks up everywhere around the tank. So when the tank fires, there's just dust everywhere. I thought that was really cool because it's really how real life is. I mean, when you fire a tank, especially in a dusty environment, it just creates a dust storm everywhere, and it's really cool. I definitely like that a lot. But, you know, with reactive armor, smoke grenades, and stuff like that, it definitely changes the way you're going to have gameplay. You know, because if you engage a reactive armor on a tank, you pretty much nullified that shot altogether, and it's a wasted shot. But at the same time, that's a wasted armor panel, so it's done. So now that creates a weak point. You know, and see, you just guided it right on in. I was in complete cover, boom, ATGM right on in there. So that's definitely going to change gameplay because your reactive armor gets hit, boom, you have a weak point on your side. Now at that point, you can't orient that side towards the enemy, so you're going to completely have to change the way your tank's orientated, can't speak today, to, you know, better protect yourself. That's a pretty cool feature. You know, I'd like to see how that plays out once, you know, that actually gets into testing and everything like that. And then smoke grenades. You know, with the spotting mechanic and everything, it'd be interesting to see how the smoke grenades actually come into play. And, you know, to cover a position, get you out of a bad spot, you know, cover in advance, cover yourself crossing a street, etc. I think that'd be a really cool feature. But I mean, you know, with the thermal and everything like that, you know, how exactly is that going to, you know, play in the weaknesses, the strengths of it, and everything like that? But, you know, etc. But they actually are going to have artillery in this. I know it's currently under some tweaking right now to kind of get a better, because they don't want. One of the big things I talked to them about was the artillery in World of Tanks. Everybody knows how annoying that is, the World of Tanks artillery. And the guys at Obsidian are definitely on focus with, they don't want it to be that annoying, you know, artillery that you get in World of Tanks. And they're really working on tweaking that out. Now, it's going to be interesting to see on the next test phase how it actually comes about and how it actually comes into play. Because modern day artillery is very advanced. You got your dual-purpose improvised combat munitions, which are awesome anti-tank rounds, which basically burst into giant submunitions of, you know, anti-armor. I mean, you got the armor-seeking submunitions. There are a ton of artillery shells designed to seek out and kill armor. Now, if you really want to get into it with this game, artillery could definitely be a game changer, and I really think that the focus they're putting on the artillery is a good sign that they're going to make it fair and balanced, but at the same time deadly, and you're going to have to pay, you know, good attention to artillery and not staying in the same spot at the same time. So that's actually a cool thing, because the difference between modern day and World War II artillery is night and day. I mean, night and day. You know, World War II artillery was pretty much just an aerial pounding of a certain area, while modern day artillery is precise, guided munitions, you know, tank destroying monsters. So you have to do it right, or you're going to get a lot of things wrong, or you know, you're going to get an overpowered artillery system or an underpowered artillery system where it'll be worthless and you're just a sitting duck waiting to just get killed and feed somebody points. So I'm pretty excited to see how that actually works out. Now, one of the things that's actually cool, and I don't know much about it to really get into it, is that there is actually a PvE system in here where you'll actually get to do missions and etc. like that, not just the PvP. So it seems like they're covering all aspects with this game, not just, you know, the PvP focus, but also a PvE focus, which is, I think, is actually pretty cool. Kind of adds a new sphere of this game to not really, you know, kind of stick on this PvP sense of it. And the poor tank, main battle tank, you know, getting taken out by a scorpion. Now, there's just so many features in this game that are just, you know, really crazy that, you know, I'm really excited to actually see how they get the final product out and how it actually, you know, turns out, because there's so many modern day systems in tank warfare that are designed for survivability and, you know, just killing power basically. So it's going to be interesting to see just how it all plays out, in the long run at least, especially the higher tiers. Once you start getting into the T90s, the Abrams, the Challenger 2s, it's going to be really cool to see how they actually work. Now, in a sense, this is still, you know, it's still an unlock. You know, you basically grind through the tiers, you unlock everything, you unlock the tiering, you get commanders, crew members that you can upgrade, weapons, etc. It's all the same thing. They got a hangar area. There's actually, your hangar is actually like your base. And you can actually get upgrades to your base and add different things to your base that'll give you boosts in game, which I think is a pretty cool aspect. So you're not just upgrading your tank, you're upgrading your whole infrastructure, which is a pretty cool aspect. And I'd like to see how that plays out in the long run too, what kind of boosts and what kind of things you can unlock for your actual base to actually, you know, help you out in game. Now, I don't know with the exact release date for this. Not really sure. It's still, I mean, just judging by the alpha test, it's still got a little bit of work. It's still really early alpha. There's a lot of systems to test. Not really sure about a release date. Graphics and everything are perfectly fine. You know, they're still doing some tweaking. I got great FPS while I was playing. No FPS drops or anything. But it's definitely, you know, I'm looking forward to actually seeing this game in action some more, testing it out, show you guys some of the testing aspects and the different things that unlock and everything. It's just, the way the testing worked this round was it only was a few days. The servers were open for a certain amount of time. It's kind of hard for me to unlock everything with how busy I was to actually kind of show it all off. So hopefully the next time around the servers are up for, like, you know, 24/7, so I can get on there and just grind my ass off to show you guys a lot more aspects. And, you know, as you can see, the little wheel tanks just roll through. They do absolutely no damage because they got little 20 mil cannons, but they're still fast. They're still so fast. It's just crazy. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out when it's done. I got a link in the description below to go sign up for beta access and all kinds of goodies and keep up with the news on it all. So go check it out. This is Armored Warfare. Talk to you guys later. Peace.